Welcome, everyone, to this exclusive LinkedIn Live episode. I'm the moderator, Ray Lazani, and I'm joined by three experts in the world of tech and AI. We have Mark Baldino, the CEO of Fuzzy Math. We have Stephen Brett, the CEO of 500 Designs. And we have Alex Stubmach, the CEO of Leobit. Thank you for being here, and thank you to our audience for tuning in live as well. There will be a Q&A portion with the audience at the end of this episode. And throughout the episode or at the end, you could ask your questions directly from the event streaming page or by commenting on the LinkedIn event page comment section. We'll start with brief introductions from each speaker to tell a little bit about themselves and the work that they do. Stephen, would you like to kick introductions off for us?
Sure. Thanks, Ray. And great to be here, by the way. Thanks for the invite. So CEO and Chief Strategist at 500 Designs. 500 Designs, we're a strategy agency. We do branding, website design. We do a little bit of what Mark is doing as well. So product design. We do a little on the development side there. And of course, web development is a big part of what we do. So that's me.
Great. And Alex?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. Excited to be part of this conversation today. So actually, I've been in software development for more than 25 years already. I'm CEO and founder of company Leobit. We do software solutions and all kind of software development. We have more than 150 people, and we provide our services for different companies in US and Europe.
Great. And Mark?
Hi, folks. I'm Mark Baldino, co-founder of Fuzzy Math. We are a user experience design consultancy based in Chicago, but we're remote, so folks spread across the US. And our kind of reason for being is to dig into the enterprise and business-to-business software space. So we spend a lot of our time doing product strategy and UI and UX design. Like to say we bring consumer-grade design to enterprise and B2B software applications. So very excited to be here.
Great. I'm really excited for this conversation. I know we have a good panelist set up, so I know it's going to be really valuable. And Stephen, we're going to start the conversation with you. You've been running 500 Designs for a decade, and you've impressively grown it beyond 100 employees. Recently, you even co-founded a new tool called Aurora AI to help agencies work better with AI. Could you tell us a little bit about this decision, and could you talk about how companies could get ahead with AI?
Well, thank you for that part and leading up to this. Yes, of course. Well, in terms of the agency and growing and scaling the agency, I mean, that's just a long story. But we were very lucky. We worked with some really awesome clients in the early days. And through introductions and referrals, I found as long as we're always doing really great work, people come to us, and so the agency just naturally grew. And then when we started looking at AI, really the first time I got my hands on ChatGPT, it was this momentary of like, wow, this is a game changer, and this is going to disrupt what we do quite significantly. So we felt, as agency founders, myself and Vivian, the other co-founder, we kind of felt that if we don't get ahead of this now, we could fall behind pretty significantly. Or we just don't know what everybody else is going to do, and we might just miss the boat somehow. So we thought we'll just go in, play, and use it as much as we possibly could. But as soon as we started to deploy it, and because we had a large team, even then it was about 120 people or so, we noticed that some people were great at prompting. In the early days, you really had to be good at prompting to extract the best from that tool. So, some people were good and some people were not so good. Some people were also very scared of the technology, and so they were apprehensive about even trying it in the first place. So we decided, well, it didn't suit our needs perfectly. And some of the things that were built into the way that it worked for, solving a problem in that moment were amazing, but it didn't help us as an agency. So we decided, why don't we just start playing with the API and start building our own tool, which we did. And that has evolved now into a kind of more of, we would call it, it's our operating system. It's how we operate as an agency. Just AI is just basically there as the assistant, completely end to end. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. It's been a long journey in developing that, but my goodness, the gains that we've got as a result of it have been just phenomenal. So for us, it was really a very, it was a good ROI, and it was a worthy investment.
I love that. And Alex, we'll turn it over to you, and we'll circle back around to some of those points that Stephen mentioned earlier. So Alex, you bring a pretty unique perspective because your agency is internationally focused and you work with clients all over the world. I know you're seeing firsthand where AI is making a real difference. So what's one specific use case or implementation or a case study, something that you've worked with that you've actually seen move the needle for a client or your own business?
Well, such a broad question. Well, I would say first of all that what Steven told definitely resonate with our experience with AI and how we started as well. So like you see it, you try implementing your first tool, and you just like, wow. It's absolutely game changing. And the thing is that some of our customers has been using AI before ChatGPT, and they some of them even become very successful, become unicorn due to special solution that they built with AI. But with ChatGPT, it just much more affordable for almost every business. So it's now not specific for some industry, for some niche. So you can apply it almost everywhere. And if you think that you can't yet apply it to your product, maybe you are missing something. Maybe you are already behind your competitors who are implementing this. So like it's really a game changer. And most of our customer, they come for the consulting, like where can we apply. It's also important like not to be overhyped and not to try implement AI just for the sake of AI, because every business is now promoting itself as AI something business, what is definitely not the right thing to do. But in most of the cases, with quite a small investment, you really can do amazing things. You can implement and automate a lot, and that's really a game changer.
Great. And Mark, we're going to turn it over to you here. So your agency specializes in creativity and design. So it's great to have you on this panel too, because it's important to get some thoughts from someone in your field. When it comes to integrating AI into creative workflows, how do you strike the balance between human intuition and machine-driven output? And what are some practical tips that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, so thanks for the question. And I think what's interesting from a creativity perspective, and Alex alluded to it, is like people sometimes are afraid of AI and they're afraid to engage with it. And I definitely think that's a mistake. It's a new information source. It's a new way of interacting with technology. And I think specifically for people that think that there's something sacred about creativity, that a generative tool couldn't kind of be a part of it, I think is a mistake. And as Steven mentioned, you got to kind of get ahead of these things. And so you have to at least engage with them. So if there's like a best practice, it's not to put up blinders. I guess if you're in a truly, what I would say, like a traditional arts, you're an artist, it's very different. But for what we do at Fuzzy Math, which is designing business applications, it should be a part of your process, and you should be thoughtful about it. So it's kind of a few ways that I think about AI and its integration at my firm, Fuzzy Math. The first is literally how can we pull it into our process? And I think it's in its name, generative. It's really good at creating and generating a lot of ideas back. Yes, I mean, we have to do things like prompt generation. People take courses and get certificates in prompt generation. I think that's great for now, but the tools are going to get better so that we don't have to spend as much time trying to figure out how to use them and prompt them. But it's really good at generating ideas, and I think it's then on a human or a designer's sort of responsibility to synthesize what's coming back from it. So give it inputs, structure that, take those outputs. And it still requires a lot of human intervention there. And then we look at our clients' processes the same way. We work with a lot of product management teams and design teams, and try to help them understand where they can integrate AI into their process. And it's very similar to how you would integrate it into a product or platform, which is look at kind of the user journey, and let's identify some key points of pain. And so if you look at my internal process as we design products or applications, and I look at our clients' processes as they deliver digital products to the market. Where there's some areas of pain that could be taking too long, requires too much kind of human intervention, bottlenecks in your process, and can you find ways to be thoughtful about integrating AI? And then the same process exists, which I think is kind of the core of the work that we're doing with our clients, which is it's a lot of legacy software applications. So they're not always on the forefront from a design perspective, but they have strong technical underpinnings. And it's really trying to figure out where in their tools there are friction points that they can thoughtfully integrate AI into the workflow, and that's going to offer a benefit for their clients.
Great, I love that. The next question I really want to propose to the group, and anyone could take this question here, but when you evaluate whether an AI tool or solution is actually worth investing in, how do you do that? What kind of questions do you ask? How do you generally approach that line of thinking?
Can I start? And maybe gentlemen will continue. So the thing is that I also want to share some experience of failure with AI, because like we all like to share our success stories. So we built this tool, we built that tool. So like in our company, we have implemented more than 10 AI employees that are handling certain job functions, like responding to email, dividing leads among team, building proposal, etc. But we had several failed projects. So, for instance, we wanted to build the tool that would automatically generate images in the style of our company. So we saw that this is quite a simple thing. So basically, like AI is generating images. So why not we implement the tool for our company, and we don't need designers anymore. We'll be just like prompting, and it will be already our styled as it is. And so we spent 2 months of like our architecture and R&D team, and we realized it's not the result we want. So like we see that at the end of the day, we would still succeed. We understand that this is an interesting project. It definitely can be implemented, but we realize that not at this moment, not at this point, and it doesn't worth investments we are doing, because there are other projects that we implemented in weeks. And the idea is you should focus on something that can get you results very quickly. So if you can achieve huge value with small investments, with conversational AI, with workflow automation, then this is the way you need to go. If you are making huge investments, maybe that's not the right thing. Of course, if this is like the core part of your business, yeah, that's a different story. But I'm speaking about this small little things, and small little things should really be small and little. And like your AI committee or whatever you have in your company, or maybe just like one person responsible for AI initiatives. So you see, you spend few weeks, you spend few months, no result, or not good result. Just stop it and focus on other things, because there are so many things where you can implement it, and this way you will be really efficient, because like in few months, in few years, there'll be better AI tools, and you will be able to use them differently and more efficiently. So move fast, and this way, this is like the only criteria. If you can move fast, the right way to go. If you're not moving fast with this AI, just stop it immediately.
Mark, Stephen, what do you guys think?
I can take a stab at the next part, and Mark, love to hear your thoughts. And Alex, 100% agree. I think for us, when we go back to say the measurement of how we determine whether something is worth doing, I mean, first thing we'll do is just get an AI champion on our team who's going to spearhead this. And in the early days, it was always leadership, but now we're kind of starting. Okay, who runs a part of let's say it's web design? Who's the key person that is most enthusiastic about AI? We found giving them the opportunity to go and research and explore, they came back with a slightly more positive and optimistic look on things. In other words, they were trying to make it work as best they possibly could. That was definitely very helpful for us. on the, I guess, whether it was worth investing in became just a measurement, and a fairly simple measurement. We would look at the old process and we would look at the time it took to complete something before. We would then look at what is the quality metric, like, so what does success look like before, and does this tool or application help us get there faster, but also maintaining quality. And being a fairly high-end agency, we will always mean that quality is number one for us. So we had to, of course, make sure that that was the case. And then the other part is adoption for the team. So how quick can the team get up to speed with the tool? Are they able to, straight away jump in and just use it because it's that intuitive? We know generative AI has certainly been, like ChatGPT has been that intuitive to the best part. But some tools require a bit of extra training. And so that's another element we just have to factor in, and how disruptive it is to tell the team, change your process, forget this. This is the way to do it from now on. And then the last piece for us, which was actually why we ended up building our own solution, was the siloed information. So when everything was siloed into different, one tool was being used for this particular purpose, another tool for another purpose, another tool for another purpose, these siloed, I will call them outputs, also created a different type of bottleneck. And the AI was not available to see everything and create continuity. And so you're trying to figure out, how do I organize this information and output here and put it over here so we can repurpose it to do this? And that became a pretty big headache for us. So, but either way, I think that was the other thing we wanted to figure out. Sometimes you can find, 20 amazing tools that do so many really cool things, but deploying that at an organization and certainly of our size, it's really tricky to manage, and we lose, I guess, the ability to correct and course correct our process. So we had to, tuck it up a little bit better. And so I think for us, that's kind of the way that we measure it. And then just one thing on this, it was MIT. I saw a great YouTube video of somebody from MIT talking about the future, and he said it really well. He said technology moves very, very fast, but organizations, and certainly changing their processes, moves very, very, very slowly. So, I think we just make sure we think about that while we're looking at these tools and assessing whether it's worth us investing in the first place. So that's our experience. But Mark, I'm curious about you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. In some ways, I feel like people treat AI differently than they would treat other technologies that are integrating. And I think sometimes it can be a mistake, right? Certainly there's a market perception if your tool doesn't have AI. Let's say, I don't know, a typical client for us is maybe an enterprise or SaaS-based B2B software company, right? And if they don't have that as a bullet point on some sort of slide somewhere, or a full set of slides about how they're AI enabled, they're going to sort of miss the mark. And I kind of like to think about it as like top down and bottom up when you're considering the integration, or whether it's acquiring a tool and you're going to use it internally or integrating into a product, and really early on, as Stephen mentioned, it was really like leadership, right? Leadership is saying, like, we need to do this. They're kind of pushing it down on the team. Sales, marketing, we need to sell this. This is easy to sell. And, I like to balance that with kind of a bottom up approach, which is, what are the people, what are the humans that need to use this software? What are their goals and what are their pain points, and how can they integrate it? And when you kind of have those two meet in the middle, this top down and bottom up approach, you can really clarify what the investment is going to be, not just from a financial perspective, but from a process change perspective, as Stephen mentioned, from just like what are the gains going to be? And so, my advice to people looking to make an AI investment is treat it like other investments. Establish what your goals are. Establish what your KPIs are. What does success look like for this initiative? Understand it from a top-down approach in terms of what does it mean from a sales, marketing, and business perspective, and then look bottom up in terms of what do the users need? What are the humans that are actually going to have to interact with this technology? What are they going to gain from it? And that can give you kind of a clear picture of what the investment can mean for your organization.
Love that. All really great insights. I want to take it back to a comment that Alex made, because he sort of mentioned making one small bet sort of step, if you will, right? I thought that was pretty interesting. So, companies have many different sizes. We have a lot of small businesses in the United States. Some are, of course, larger enterprises. But if a company wanted to start leveraging AI today, but they don't have a big budget or a massive technical team, what's one small, concrete, practical step that they could take this month? Do you guys have any practical tips to share there for the audience that might be of a smaller size company?
Well, let me again start from this. So, of course, again, even smaller companies they are different. So some are more technical, they're not. So. And the pieces of advice they are different from like the level that we look at the problem. So the first thing I would say that's uh, very briefly, start implementing AI. So just like the general advice, like don't be afraid, don't treat the risks of implementing it as something that should stop you from like doing it. So like first of all, you need to think about it as the important point in moving forward and important point in not being left behind by your competitors. So the second thing is that there should be someone in charge. So as Steven said, a champion in the company or whatever, how we call it, the group of people. But speaking about the specific tools, so there are so many, and like ChatGPT is just the general tool, but there are many tools available for specific use cases. So for instance, like you can load your internal company knowledge base into the system. You can do it, by the way, in ChatGPT as well, but there are other tools available, and it will already be able to process your data, and you'll be able to use customized chat gpt. So like having a customized large language model for your company makes quite a big difference in my opinion. So like first of all, like the basic start is just we all use ChatGPT. This is the basics. So of course everyone does it to big and smaller extent, but if you make this small little tiny step and you build your corporate large language model, which sounds maybe like something sophisticated for people who don't know what it actually is, but basically it's just the same foundation model that is fitted with your data. Basically feed your data, your corporate data, and you will see the magic that it provides. And like there are so many other ways how you can implement it automatically, build some agents, build orchestration of things. But for smaller companies, just like build your corporate large language model, start using it, and you will see, you will notice this huge value it gives you.
Great.
Very cool. Go for it, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say, thanks, Alex. I think that idea of building something that is yours, that is a model, whether it's fed with your data or you've fed it with enough sort of background information, it kind of becomes a tool for you, is something you should be doing now. I think if you're a small business owner in the US and you're not utilizing a tool like ChatGPT every day, you're missing out. And if you don't know what to do with it, identify where you sort of struggle. So phrase I like, which is brevity breeds clarity. And I talk forever. I'm trying not to on this. So if you need to mute me at any point, Ray, you can. But ChatGPT or any of these AI tools in a very simple way can help you consolidate your thoughts, right? There's not an email probably that's over 3 lines that I create that doesn't get put through chat, just to clarify my language. It's not changing the intent. I'm not asking you to do anything complicated. Make this more concise. And that's just because then it helps me. I'm actually learning from it how to be more concise. But another really powerful way to use an AI, Gen AI, is from a sales perspective. And I think that's like I load a lot of data up, and I have a lot of different sort of chats set up, and they help me get into the mind of my customers and of my ideal client profile, and ask questions of them and get information back. So I think from just like a very simple sales and business development, there's easy ways to do it. So I'm not actually talking about buying a software solution and integrating it into your workflow, which is really, really powerful, and what Steven's company has built, which is really, really amazing. Again, kudos for having a consultancy that's grown so much, and you've built an AI tool that's like really, really impressive. I'm just talking about building muscle memory with these tools, and anybody could do it while they're listening to us, and should be, because you're frankly 2 years behind the curve if you haven't started playing with these things. But there's some really powerful ways, and the more you use it, the more you learn, build that muscle memory, and you find more powerful ways. And to Alex's point, you can start to build up these repositories of information that it's just going to give you richer and richer information back.
Very wise words, Mark and Alex. That's great. One other thing I just wanted to throw out here as well. So not just small business owners and large business owners, but every human being. I would say and recommend just go onto YouTube and just start watching what's possible, because finding inspiration of like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that with AI. How many times I've heard that, even with our own team, who are, we're fairly bullish in AI and they're all well trained on it. Somebody will do something and they'll go, well, I never thought of that. That's so cool. Well, you know what I could do? I could apply your thinking to my problem and I could solve it in a different way. So go and find just inspiration as much as you possibly can. And then try the tools, like as the guys have said as well. It's just try the tools, play around with it, be optimistic in that it will solve things, but wait for the surprise, because it'll solve things you never knew that it could solve in a different way than you anticipated. And then also maintain realism, because whatever you're trying to solve, it probably doesn't solve it in the way you expect. So it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to give you a final like, oh, great, press a button and magic happens like perfectly. But if you are cautious and careful about implementation of that, it can be transformational. And then to what Alex and Mark said, and we were really fortunate in the sense that we could go, and we had some developers on the side and some designers, that we thought, okay, well, let's just do this project. But to the point, like even with Aurora, this product we've built, but others exist out there, you can just load your business data in there. You can segment it into different sections, like around different workspaces, like your sales department or a specific project. So you just get much richer responses. And ChatGPT is phenomenal, of course, but when you start using some of the other tooling that's out there, when it's trained a little bit more on your business context, the level of quality, it's just goes from here to like, I can't reach that high. It's phenomenal. So yeah, but either way, I'd say go on YouTube, just watch tons of videos, be inspired, find things, and just try it, see how it works, and then I guarantee you'll be inspired to try more and more and more.
I love that. Yeah, it's all really great. We're going to ask one more question, and then we're going to go to the Q&A portion. But look, you're all agency owners. You're seeing a lot of deal flow coming through, different clients requesting different things. I think before we started the recording, Alex mentioned 1 in every 2 or 1 in every 3 requests involve some AI capability or capacity. So this question is for all of you. If we're looking at ahead in the next 12 months, what's one trend or development in AI that you think business leaders, big and small, should be paying very close attention to in the world of AI?
I can hit this one first if it's okay. I think it's hard because there's 2 key ones that kind of come to mind, but I'm going to go with agents. But I would say natural language programmable agents, and not, if you have the budget to go with Alex and call him and say, hey, help me build this particular solution. I think there's going to be so many tools that are coming out to make it easy to solve smaller, more everyday tasks, and really dip your toes into agents, deploying them the right way, understanding how they operate. So that way you can start to empower your team just to work at a higher quality, at a quicker pace, and tackle more things. And then balancing that with, and this is the one that I think is the biggest trend. If we're thinking of the technology agents, if we're thinking of the trend here, I think it is, as a leader of a company, one of your primary objectives over the next couple of years is changing the mindset of your team, so that everybody is kind of feels enthusiastic and empowered, and that nobody feels threatened that the AI is out to get them and it's going to replace them. In fact, if your business is doing better as a result of implementing AI tools, you can go and build new cool stuff. You can add, people to new projects and go explore more and add more value to customers, to clients. And very quickly, just a quick example, one of our lead strategists recently had massively transformed how fast she was able to get a particular part of the process done. So later she was reporting back at the end of the week and said, hey Steve, I did this, but have a look at this as well. And I was like, the client didn't ask for that. This is awesome, by the way. And she said, well, I had time, so why not? And that was the kind of the mindset I guess we're trying to encourage with our team, is just continue to add more value, because as the tools get better and we save more times as human beings, we can apply our skill sets and our knowledge into other things with the power, again, of these agents and AI in general. So for me, it's agents is the technology, but I think internally, operation and mindset is one of the most and biggest and important things that business leaders should focus on for the next year.
Love that. Mark or Alex, any thoughts? And we'll jump into Q&A.
Let me continue. So first of all, like I totally agree with what Stephen told. So that definitely makes sense, and I think that AI agents. So this is like the most popular, the most important direction nowadays. What I would, and I also would add and repeat what Stephen said, that again, it's a question of courage to move into AI. So it's not just like the question what trend is. The trend is if you go with AI or if you don't, because you would be surprised how many organizations have not embraced the full potential that they could have from AI. This is really phenomenal, and like the biggest like direction is start moving into AI. So because many organizations, they are not using full potential. But if we speak about like the actual implementation, in my opinion, the biggest value is in automation with AI. So like there are different type of AI agents, and like if you can I don't know, speak with AI agent and it will answer questions, help with defining things, assigning things, etc. That's fun, but the real value comes with automation. So if you can think in your organization where you can apply maybe smaller agents but with full automation, that you don't need the human to oversee it, that's where you get real value. Real value is when certain things are implemented automatically, and that may be so simple things like email auto response, I don't know, chatbots, etc. So if you don't need to foresee it, so this is the real value that are easy to implement and that can bring significant value in conversational AI, in again workflow automation, in many other areas. So automation with AI is really something that can bring significant value, in my opinion.
Great. Thank you, Alex. We are going to jump into the Q&A portion. I know, Mark, you probably have some great thoughts, but we're going to hold it off for the great. Okay. Well, yeah, that concludes the general session. Really valuable insights, gentlemen. Time for the Q&A portion. We already have a few questions that I see have been submitted. What we are going to do, I also see some people are up on stage. So we're going to bring up one at a time to see who has their question. I see Nick is in the audience, has his camera on there. So Nick, we're going to bring you up on stage, and you're welcome to ask your question to the audience now. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Ray. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for your valuable insights on creativity and just being able to implement this into small, medium, and even just one-shop businesses. I was curious from each of your perspectives, if you have a specific case study, a successful case study that you might be able to mention of how AI outperformed or helped augment the creative process, successful case studies, especially with people who are just learning AI at the beginning. So I'm curious for anyone to take that question and run with it.
Go ahead.
I live in the creative space, but we're still, I am biased towards process, and I think my team tends to be biased towards process because of that. So I think from a creative process, it's finding areas where, as I mentioned earlier, people struggle. So like humans struggle, I should say. And so a case study for us is kind of two areas in our process, but we're really around like synthesis and idea generation. So our team likes to take research, primary user research, synthesize that and come up with a series of sort of themes and findings and design opportunities. And so what we've actually done in processes is to kind of parallel that. Run that through AI, and have those responses, and then don't look at those, don't bias ourselves, and run through it on our own, and then kind of compare those and see where the overlap is. And I think that's what's been mentioned a few times, is that you'll be surprised at some of the findings, and without letting it totally bias you, I think you kind of combine those two. So it's not generally like a case study, but I think that it is certainly a process improvement that has enabled us to synthesize faster, and to learn from kind of how AI is synthesizing. And then, not to get too technical in the design world, but you mentioned creative process. I think we call this the sort of the double diamond, right? Which is when you're coming back from synthesis, you're going to go back out wide. That's another great use case for AI, because at that point in the process, you can be limited by what these are all the concepts based. Let's say we were doing a dashboard or some new workflow, right? Like, you're limited by the team's smarts, and my team is brilliant and they come up with a lot of great ideas. But actually, though, that's a key point when you're going wide again, to use AI to help you generate a number of opportunities and ideas, and even like loose visuals that can come out of some of these tools are actually pretty impressive. They're not things we're going to necessarily put into working designs. In 2 years, we will be able to, but right now we're just sort of generating ideas. So I think there's peak parts of the process where it requires a lot of human computation power or stretching our minds. And I think those are really key areas from a creativity perspective that you can integrate AI.
Great.
Very cool.
Thank-
Nick, if you want a specific one, I can get. Or sorry, Ray, did you want to?
Sure, no, go jump in there, Stephen.
I'll try to keep this brief. Nick, for a specific example, we were a client of ours. They're a multi-billion-dollar business. They acquired 16 other businesses, and they needed to roll up the branding into a single unified brand, and they needed to announce this. And there was a board meeting that was set, and it was within 6 weeks. And we had to launch a brand new website, design the entire thing, create a visual identity. Their logo was done, but that was the only piece. And we had to retell the story and reposition them as a brand with this roll up of all these brands. The base of it was done in a weekend. And normally this process is probably 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So using, and you know, I don't mean to promote Aurora, but on Aurora, we're able to pull all of the context and all the interviews we had with the client all into the workspace. All of the documentation we had about each of the individual brands. We're then able to, and I did the first part of this, basically create all of the kind of core pillars based on their personas, based on customer journey maps, which are all done, again, using AI. We got to a point where we did backward engineering of all of their major competitors to tell the story flow. We built that into the knowledge as well. Based on that, we were able to say, okay, these are the personas as we want to communicate these core things about the brand. Look at all the examples, reference all of the context that is available about the business and what's, I guess, important to communicate based on this roll-up, and now start to write the content or the story flow for each of the pages. By, I think, day 3, we had the 16 or 17 core pages of the website, copy written, story flow done, wireframes ready to go. Now the design team were using the inspiration from the output of basically the direction for the art direction, which again was done with AI. And then they started to create the visual identity stuff while the UX team were doing this and the copy team were doing that. They worked here. And then we got the whole thing designed, and I would say about 8 to 9 days, and then over to development to develop the entire thing. For us to do that without AI, I couldn't even comprehend it, because there was concepts in some of these roll-up businesses I didn't even understand. Like I just couldn't comprehend. Like I didn't catch the subtle relationships between like how these brands overlapped. But the AI was able to do all that for me, and I could read it and go, that makes sense, and just run it by their CEO and say, does that look good to you? And he's, yeah, that's exactly it. Great, let's go. And so that's the sort of stuff we can do with this technology if it's applied properly.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Nick, for the question. I think we have time for maybe one more question. So I'm going to bring up, let's see. I see the username Wonderful Victor is up on stage. Victor, do you have a question maybe in less than 15, 20 seconds? And then we'll do a blitz round of answers. All right. Looks like Victor might be a little shy on stage. So we're going to bring up Roman instead. Roman, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, if I may. Hi, guys. It was really interesting a presentation, and like a question for you. You're all working in established IT companies. Have you looked at stuff that enables to go to market with AI a lot faster? So basically, you're not building language models, you're setting up things with no code like N8N. And do you think like that's what will break the market for larger companies? Because like people basically with no coding skill can set up portals, can set up CRMs like in days. What are your thoughts about it?
And this is interesting question, Roman. Thank you. So the thing is that low code, no code has been around for a while, much before AI. However, the thing is that right now you can do even majority of the traditional fully custom software development with AI. So definitely it depends on the specific thing you're trying to resolve. But in many cases, you can do standard custom software development with AI, even without much of the experience in IT. So the thing is that again, low code, no code is a great tool, and it's great for smaller projects and for quick prototypes to quickly get up and running. But at the end of the day, you may find some limitations. A much interesting idea is to still go with custom software development that you can create with the same AI. So now you can develop with standard technologies using AI, and you don't need to face the limitations of no codes, low code. So I would say that AI actually even provided the boost for standard development without much of the IT background, because you can do things, but still sometimes you will face certain limitations and you would need to work with IT guys to help resolve them. So there would be still huge demand for expert engineers who would help to fix the software that has been written by AI, because like AI can generate tons of software, but fixing complicated things would still be a problem for low code, for custom traditional software development, and that will be a problem in my opinion in some time, because like there would be tons of software generated, but fixing it's just a different story.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. Well, this concludes the episode. We're all out of time. I know that there's a lot more questions that have seen have been posted. Once this episode finishes, there's going to be a post of an email, so you can get in touch directly with our expert panelists that are on stage here to ask your questions and have any follow-up conversation. So that's going to be provided in the post of an email. With that, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for a terrific session and your valuable insights. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll all see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody, guys.
Thank you, Steven and Mark. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.